Click the bell icon to get latest videos from Ekeeda.
Hello friends, we'll be discussing the main sources of income when it comes to financial statements of not-for-profit organization. So basically when we deal about or any situation that you take into, when there's an organization, we need to figure out what are the main sources of income. Even if you are a salaried person, you need to understand what are the sources of income that you have. It may be a salary source that you have. Is there any other secondary source of income that you can get into? Similar to that thinking, we need to understand that when a firm is being run, or rather when the firm is being going ahead with the organization, or rather when it goes ahead in the market, he needs to have, or that firm needs to have, different kind of sources, because all those sources will help in accumulation of income or accumulation of money. But out of all those sources, we need to figure out which are the most important ones and which are the most prioritized ones, because the most important and prioritized will be the same, and after that there will be certain segregation as to which will happen, like add-on or backup sources of income. So we'll now figure out what are the main sources of income when it comes to financial statements of not-for-profit organization, basically a public institutions organizations which run for the welfare of the public or for the society. So the first source of income that we have here is the subscription amount, or rather when we speak about subscription being a part of any individual who wants to subscribe or go ahead with the services of what that specific person or organization is providing to the society. Now this subscription will be a nominal fees. It may be a negligible or nominal fees itself, which will be very petty in nature. It may be like 100 rupees or 300 rupees of fees that you usually spend in travel itself. So this is a nominal fees that is being charged, and that is called a subscription fees. So this is one source of income out of which the public welfare, or rather these kind of institutions, run their daily operations. Now the next one refers to ordinary donations. Now, when it comes to ordinary donations, basically these are the donations that are provided to the clubs, to the funds, or rather to any kind of organizational institution which runs this kind of business, which is not for profit organization. So it can be any individual who is donating the amount, it can be the government who is donating the amount, it can be any other financial institution who's donating the amount, or it can be any other non-financial institution who is going ahead and making a charity or a donation to these kind of clubs. It may be a temple which is getting donation, it may be a church that is getting donation, it may be a public school that is getting donation. So that thing can be provided either by an individual, either by a government, either by any financial institution, or either by any non-financial institution who just wants to make a certain donation, and hence that is called as secondary income, or rather secondary main source of income. Let's go on to the third one. Now the third one is membership fees or entrance fees. So apart from subscription, like subscription is for the journals of such institutions or any other services. Now when it comes to membership fees, if you want to be a part of such clubs, like there are welfare clubs, there are rotary clubs, there are environmental clubs, there are educational clubs, anything. So whenever you want to be a part of this club, you either have to be a member of it, or you can entrance, or rather you can have an entrance fees. So either there's a membership fees, some clubs have membership fees, some clubs have entrance fees. So according to that, that thing gives access to one individual for all the services that are provided by the clubs or organizations or such institutions. Now for that access, you need to pay another nominal fees here, and that is known as membership fees or entrance fees, and that is again one of the major important source of income here. Now, the next source of income that we have to understand is the recurring grants from the local authorities. So, the civic bodies that we have, like BMCs, we have the Maharashtra Municipal Corporation, we have any other corporations like the local authorities, and the grants that they give, like if there are public hospitals in and around Bombay. Now, the working of that hospital depends on the authority, or rather the local authorities like BMC, from where they get their funds and etc. So the government who gives their funds to such kind of places. So all these recurring grants, because that keeps happening every month or every interval as per the discretion between the company and the local authorities, or the firm or the local authorities, like the charitable trust as well. So whatever funds they receive, it receives, or rather they receive them on specific intervals. So if you're having certain details like that, you need to go according to that itself. So this is what we need to understand when it comes to recurring grants from local authorities. The last kind of source can be income from investment. So whatever grants they get, whatever donations they get, whatever incomes they receive from charitable trust, whatever membership fees, subscription, it is not necessary that the whole amount will go behind expenses. It is also very important that whatever amount they receive, at least one fourth of that same amount is invested into some other investment that will reap interest, that will reap certain income, and that can be used further for making the unnecessary or other necessary expenses here. So it depends on the kinds of expenses that are required, like the short term and long term expenses that can be met out of certain part of the income which is being more invested or rather invested into certain thing else that will give you certain income, and that income can be utilized for making the expenditures and incomes of the necessary things. So this is what you need to understand when it comes to income from investments. Now there are certain notes that you need to think about before going ahead with the main sources of income. The first note is as follows. Now, amount raised for certain special activity like sale of match ticket, etc., is deducted from the expenditure of that activity. So whatever expenses must have happened for that activity, amount what we have received, the expenditure is first deducted from that amount, and the net amount is shown as a part of income and expenditure. So if you have received 10,000 rupees from that activity, whatever expenses went in bringing that activity or in bringing up that match or any that function, whatever expenses have gone, that will be first subtracted from that income, and whatever balance is left, that is the net amount, will be shown as a part of income and expenditure statement. This is only in the case of any special activity and not a regular business here. The next one states that receipts of capital nature will not be shown in the income statement, but it will be credited to the capital fund or special fund created for the same purpose. So any income which is of capital nature, any receipt which is of capital nature will not be shown as a part of income and expenditure statement, but that amount will be shown in the capital fund or any kind of special fund that we create for that specific reason. Now the last concept, or rather the last note referring to this concept is, that expenditure for procuring any fixed asset can be capitalized. That means that may be recorded into this income and expenditure statement. However, the revenue expenses of that specific asset like depreciation, wear and tear, etc., it shall be debited to the revenue expenditure. That means the capital expenditure, or rather the expenses incurred in procuring certain asset, and the expenses that are in terms of revenue nature will be move to the revenue nature or rather revenue expenditure concept. However, the capital nature will be always capitalized, or rather expenses that are incurred to procure, because that is a one time activity, hence it will be capitalized. However, the amount of depreciation or any other expense which is of recurring or frequent nature, then in such scenario it will be debited to the revenue expenditure. So these are the details that you need to understand when it comes to main sources of income, especially the kind of subscriptions, the kind of entrance fees, the kind of membership fees, the kind of grants, the kind of special recurring local authorities grants that we receive, or any other kind of donation, etc., that we receive. These are the main sources, and apart from that, you need to understand the other notes that we have mentioned down here. So, this is what we had to explain to you when it comes to main sources of income. So, thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned with Ekeeda and keep subscribing to Ekeeda.